Notice that nowadays you can give this open AI, ChatGPT, and all those other very long, very big amounts of text, sometimes a whole paragraph, sometimes maybe 3 pages of information, and it's able to study the whole information and understand it. So these Google engineers were able to figure out that, okay, let's use a pre-trained process for a transformer, and then it will be better at uh, getting context out of any information that we give. So that opened a portal for so many engineers to also explore that particular generative pre-trained transformer. So a lot of companies profit out of it, including ChatGPT or OpenAI, XAI, which produce also a product called Grok, and so many other models that we will talk about here. So now that we understand how or the architecture of ChatGPT, the technical details are very much so. I will not. The most important thing you should know about it is that it's able to receive large amounts of information and know exactly what the user wants. That is what these generative pre-trained transformers are able to do. So, and another thing also is that you can chat with it for a very long time, and then if you switch context, it's able to know that you've switched context. So maybe it's just like a human being. You are chatting with a human being about football, and then all of a sudden you start talking about music. Maybe you are doing, maybe it's a conversation, or you are arguing about football, about Ronaldo versus Messi, and then all of a sudden you start talking about Wizkid versus Davido. It should be able to quickly switch and then know that that is what you are talking about, and then adapt to your form, your conversation. And that's why we call it transformer. It can transform conversation. They craftily gave it that particular name. So now that we understand this, it means that we can now make or explore the full use of it. You can give it as much information as you want. But whilst you are giving it the information, you have to be very crafty about giving the information. And that is what we call prompt engineering. Now, so that is typically the steps involved. A user inputs a prompt or a question into ChatGPT, for example, and then an algorithm runs in the background. A very long mathematical and algorithm runs in the background. It analyzes your prompts. It identifies the keywords. This is very important. Keywords. So meaning that anytime you are writing a prompt, make sure that you put in some keywords, which we'll be discussing today, and phrases in the prompt to understand the context of the question. So the context is very important. Then the next step is that the generative AI will check its database for to find relevant information related to that, your prompt. Because as we said, uh, the generative AI or ChatGPT is supposed to know everything. So it will only search for information regarding whatever you asked. If you are asking about football and then it will just giving information about music, it doesn't work that way unless you ask it to blend the two. If you don't ask it to blend the two, it will not do that. It will only give you information based on what you search for. Then it will now use natural language processing to generate a very good response for you. Make sure that it's grammatically correct, and then make sure that it's contextually relevant to the prompts and the data sets that it has. After that, it will give you a response. So at the end of the day, these are the only two things we see. We only see step 1 and step 6 in this form. Now, this particular generative AI, since ChatGPT came out, not it was not only ChatGPT that was doing it. Even Google, as I told you, the people who came with the generative pre-trained transformer were from Google. And even before that, we've had several chatbots, even though they were not so good. We had the Apple Siri, Google Assistant, Samsung Bixby, Alexa, and all those other ones. But since these particular ones came, They've been very powerful, and everyone has jumped onto this bandwagon, and it is projected that it will create jobs and then bring a revenue of more than $4.4 trillion annually to the global economy, meaning that a lot of jobs will be created, a lot of opportunities will be created, and then a lot of revenue will be generated in various fields. So, because of that, we'll discuss that particular aspect, how to harness the full use of these systems. Now, what are some of the functionalities of generative AI? I've listed some of them here. This list is not exhaustive. It can literally do so many stuff. But some of this include language and content generation. It also includes, what do we mean by language and content generation? So maybe you can ask it to create um, a poem for you. You can ask it to create a video for you. You can ask it to create um, a marketing uh, campaign for you. For example, an advert. You can ask it to create how do you call it? In fact, anything you want it to create for you to be able to create it. You can also ask it to even create code for you for the IT students. Now, you can also ask it to retrieve information from you. What is information retrieval? Information retrieval simply means that it's not creation per se. Photosynthesis will always be photosynthesis. So if you ask it for photosynthesis, all you are asking it that, what do you know about a photosynthesis? It's not creation, it's just retrieving information for us to be able to understand maybe a particular subject. And as students, that will help us a lot because that's what we should more focus on. We can use it to study. It's more or less like you going to the library. So maybe instead of you always going to the library is not open 24/7. So on your phone, you can just open your computer or your phone and ask it any question that you maybe something you don't understand in class and then you want more information on it. You can ask it and then it will give you that particular information. The next one is language translation. That is,
Hello, sir.